Men don't need your love, they need your respect. A man's highest need is to feel respect, whereas a woman's highest need is to feel loved. That can be difficult for women to make sense of because while we want to be respected by our husbands, for us, love takes precedence. There are 5 ways a man needs to be respected. We're going to talk about it. Let's get into it.
Tell you what you wanna hear. Tell you what you wanna hear. Tell you what you want.
Number 1, he needs respect for his judgment. A man deeply needs the woman in his life to respect his knowledge, opinions, and decisions, what he calls judgment. Many men feel like their wives question their knowledge or argue with their decisions all the time. Several men confess that they feel like their opinions and decisions aren't valued in the home. Also, while a man's colleagues will rarely tell him what to do, wives often make the mistake of ordering their husbands around like one of the children. Number 2, respect for his abilities. Another strong thing that emerge is the need for men to figure out things for themselves. If a man can figure out something for themselves, they feel like they have conquered something and are affirmed as a man. For some reason, spending hours figuring out how to put something together is fun for them. They like those type of challenges. Problem is, we as women want to constantly help them and even take over. And guess how they interpretate that? Interpretate that as distrust. And of course, our attention is not all well meaning. Sometimes we truly don't have the confidence that our man can figure out something on his own. We don't realize that the act of forcing ourselves to trust in our men means so much to them, but it does. It's not a big deal to us, so we don't get it, but we have to understand that these little choices to trust or not trust are interpreted as signs of the overall trust and respect for them as a man. Number 3, respect and communication. The way we communicate with our men, both our husbands and sons, holds incredible power. We can build them up or tear them down, encourage or exasperate. Some things just push a man's buttons, and we know what those are. And this goes beyond what we say, such as questioning a man's judgment or his abilities, and in how we say and mean things. Words have power, and sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And we can get disrespectful, especially when we are angry or offended or feel like we are being attacked. But we always have to be aware of the way that we are talking to our significant other because words are something that you cannot take back. Once you say something and he takes that as disrespect, he is going to hold on to that forever. Number 4 is respect in public. There appears to be an epidemic of public disrespect for men, and the biggest culprit is not the television, movies, or other media, but the women who are supposed to love their men the most. There have been instances where women, wives, have criticized their man in public, put them down, or even questioned their judgment in front of others. And men take this as a serious sign of disrespect. One thing that my husband, I know that he absolutely does not tolerate is being disrespected, me attacking him in public, in front of our family, in front of our friends. And anytime that some type of disagreement or a spat has come up, we don't want it to go there because it's going to be a problem. I was young and I didn't know, I didn't understand, and I had to learn from him and within myself that when we are in public, we are to be a unit. We are not to let other people view us as separate or that people can cause. dysfunction between us, that we don't let other people into our weaknesses. And so I had to learn that, okay, when we are in public, hold it, even though it's angering, it's frustrating, it's annoying, hold it and wait until we are in private to then discuss it. Number 5 is respect in our assumptions. Unfortunately, men have every right to read into what we say when we jump to conclusions about them. When we really examine our communication, we'll be astounded at how often we assume something bad about the men we love. For example, do you often assume your husband needs to be reminded? Do you often assume that your husband is guilty for something, that he didn't do something right, that he is cheating on you? In your mind, you're thinking it's not a big deal, or you may eventually, get over it. But men tend to hold on to a lot, especially a lot of what we say and what we don't say. They are able to read into our nonverbal communication, our actions. And men mostly go off of our actions more than just what we say. Whereas women, we need a lot of verbal communication, a lot of verbal affirmation. Most men don't need all of that. They can just look at your actions, your nonverbal communication, your cues, your assumptions, and come up with their own conclusion. When you assume something negative about the man that you love, your husband, it again creates this sense of, does she feel like I'm incapable? Does she not trust me? Why does she look at me so negatively? And it can make him feel a certain type of way and therefore treat you a certain type of way. So we have to be very mindful of the view that we have on our men, because we have been programmed in this society, in modern society, to have a negative view when it comes to men, relationships, and the things that can happen, even though it's not even happening to you, it's not happening in that moment. We're seeing everybody else and what they're going through, and we can bring that into our relationship, causing problems, even though there wasn't one to begin with. Us women can think that they are heartless, they don't love us, but really they just express that love in a different type of way. The way that a man expresses his love for you is through his provision, his protection, and the sacrifices that he makes for his family and for your relationship. Because it shouldn't just be about the children, it should be about you and him as well. Because when the children grow up and they leave and they start their own life, where will you and your husband be? Will you be looking at each other like you don't even know each other, like you hate each other? Or will you still have respect and admiration for the journey that you two have been through? Men are human just like us. They make mistakes just like we do. And so we can't hold those mistakes over them, degrade them, belittle them, make fun of them, and judge them when we ourselves are making our own mistakes. May not be the same, but we're still making them, because nobody is perfect. We have to show each other respect. And men crave respect more than they need your love. So, try to hold it in, try to figure out how to speak in a kind, non judgmental way. One thing that I found helped me was being more silent and observant. When I am not just looking to respond or attack or even defend myself, when I'm just sitting back and looking at him as another human being, not even as my husband or this bad man, but just as another human being. I see all the things that he is going through just like me. All the feelings of, failure or neglect or things that happened in our childhood. or the stress of being a parent, all of these things are affecting him. It's just affecting him differently. And that increases my level of understanding and compassion for him. And then in turn, I am able to speak to him with more love and compassion. But let me know what y'all think of this topic in the comments below. What are some advice that you can give couples on how to communicate better? Make sure that you like this video and you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.